Allow the crown of the head to reach tall towards the sky. Bring the shoulder blades together and down your back and place the hands on the thighs, palms up, and close your eyes. Start to become aware of your breath, and you can allow that breath to flow in through the nose and out through the nose. Start to bring the breath into balance by making your inhale the same length as the exhale. So if the inhale was for a count of 4, the exhale would be for a count of 4. If your inhale was for a count of 6, your exhale would be for a count of 6, and so on. With each inhale, allow the spine to grow tall. And then as you exhale, you'll keep the length in the spine, but just begin to allow the body to soften. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders, let the knees just gravitate towards the earth. As you sit and breathe, I'm going to read from the book Pearls of Wisdom by Swami Satchidananda. And this is called We Are All Learning. Let's not deny anybody just because he or she follows a certain path or doesn't follow a certain path. Ultimately, we are all learning. If anyone is interested in knowing what practices you are doing, talk about it. Explain how you have benefited, but don't try to persuade another to do the same thing. That is what is meant by the biblical saying, ask and it shall be given. You don't have to go and teach anyone. If someone asks, simply share what you know. If that person wants to do the same thing, fine. If not, if he or she wants to follow another path, that's fine too. With such an attitude, you will learn to love everyone, respect everyone, and there will be harmony in your life. Come on, guys. So as a yoga teacher, from the very beginning, I felt that my purpose was to introduce students to the path of yoga, to put it out there so that it could be discovered. But then once the student discovers it, they create their own path. I feel so blessed that I've had so many students that have been with me for 10 years. But I also have students who maybe came to me once, wasn't really their thing, so they moved on to a different teacher, and that's fine. I actually think it's a good thing to try various teachers because I may do something one way, someone else may do it another way, and then you can figure out the best way for yourself. We're in a pretty volatile time in our society. We seem to have created a lot of separation so that if you believe in A, but I believe in B, there's this divide. And it's a shame because we tend to, or it feels as if we're dividing ourselves based on just a belief about one or two things, when we're made up of so much more than that. And you may cut someone out because they don't believe in A, but you have all these other things in common, so you could be missing out on that. So this is just something to think about to help you remain calm and keep calm throughout your days. You don't have to believe in the same things as everyone else. You don't have to try to change someone else's opinion or change their mind about something. If they're interested, let them ask. and then teach what you know. And then the real yoga takes place, where you have to detach yourself from the outcome. So if I'm a yoga teacher and I have a new student come, I get to introduce them to the path of yoga, but then they decide to go to another teacher, it doesn't bother me because it's not my journey, it's theirs. So just some words of wisdom by Swami Satchidananda that really relate to our world today. Let's bring our hands together at the heart in Anjali Mudra. And just one more thing I would like to say about that just popped into my head. So obviously, if you're here, you're on your yoga journey. But there are some people that think yoga is anti-Christian. And that's really not true. Yoga is not a religion. But some people really believe that. So they would think that we are bad for practicing yoga. And to us, that sounds silly. But it's just an example of how different types of people have different beliefs. So, you know what? They don't have to do yoga if they don't want to, but they shouldn't prohibit you from doing it. So, again, hands come to the heart, thumbs just gently press against your chest, elbows relax. We'll breathe together 3 times, and on the third exhale, we'll share the sound of Om. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Inhale and exhale. And for the third time together, inhale. Om. Bow your head. Place the hands on the thighs. Softly open your eyes, looking forward. We're going to start today laying on our back. As I mentioned, we're going to be focusing on backbends today. And we need to make sure that we warm up properly. So we'll start that now. You'll lay comfortably on your back, legs extended out nice and long, arms by your sides. So to start, I want you just to reach through the heels as if you're pressing your feet into a wall. As you inhale, arms come up until the thumbs touch the floor behind you. And then as you exhale, arms come back down by your sides. You're moving with your breath at your own pace here. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, they come back down. If you have a shoulder issue that prevents you from lifting and lowering the arms, just skip the arm raises and tune in with your breath. The next time the arms are by your side, you can pause there. Bend your knees, placing the soles of the feet on the mat. Cross the right ankle over that left thigh. Take the hands around the left thigh. Draw the legs into the chest. You can rotate the left ankle here. Reverse the direction of that ankle rotation. Let the left ankle become still. Lower the left foot to the mat, and then lower the right foot. Next, you'll cross your left ankle over the right thigh. Take the hands around the right thigh, draw the legs into the chest. Begin to rotate the right ankle. And then reverse the direction. So as the weather is cooling off, you may notice that you need to warm up a little bit more because when we get cold, our muscles tense up and we need to warm up those muscles. Lower that right foot to the ground, lower the left foot. Bring your arms by your sides, palms face the floor. You're going to draw your pelvic floor up, draw the navel in. Engage both glutes, press down through the feet and lift the hips. As you exhale, lower the hips. So we come to our first back bend, bridge pose, and we're moving dynamically to warm up the muscles. Inhaling up and exhaling down. So I've been teaching this pose recently by telling everyone to engage their glutes before they lift. And that's going to help you use the glutes instead of dumping the weight into the knees. But there are different schools of thought on that. So you can play around with it. If you come up into bridge pose and like to relax your glutes, go ahead and try it. The next time the hips lower, pause there and we'll add the arms. Pelvic floor draws up, navel in. Engage the glutes. The hips lift as the arms come up overhead and the thumbs touch the floor behind you. As you exhale, arms and hips lower down together. So it takes a little coordination. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, lower. This particular back bend is a really good one to help warm up the body and also release low back strain. So we often do this pose a lot after we would do some forward bending. Go ahead and lower the hips, lower the arms, draw your knees into your chest. Feel free to rock side to side here, giving yourself a little back massage. Place the right hand on the right knee, left hand on the left knee. Begin to rock head to tail, and you can have a little fun with it, rocking back and forth a couple times. Eventually, bringing yourself up to seated, and then we're going to come right over the knees to all fours, hands and knees. I like to use this foam pad under my knees because I have knee issues and it just is more comfortable for me. So this is not a traditional yoga prop, but it doesn't need to be. You use what works for you because it is your practice. When you come to all fours, the knees are just hip width apart and they're slightly behind the hips. Hands are shoulder width apart, slightly forward of the shoulders. So my back goes into an automatic back bend, and that's not the right alignment. That's not correct posture. So I'm going to draw the navel to the spine, tailbone draws towards the back of the room to bring my spine to neutral. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, shift your hips to your heels, your chest to your thighs, coming to extended child's pose. On the inhale, bring yourself back up to all fours, hands and knees. Moving with your breath, exhale back to child's pose. Inhale up, all fours. The next time you bring yourself up to all fours, pause there. Take a breath in. As you exhale, begin to round your spine towards the sky. This is your cat pose. On the inhale, the belly lowers towards the mat as the bottom and the head reach towards the sky. This is cow pose, our second back bend. So as you exhale, round the spine. Inhale, belly draws down towards the mat, bottom and the head towards the sky. So notice that even though we call it a back bend, it's a front body opener. Come back to a neutral neck, neutral spine. Shift back to child's pose and rest here. So you can lower your arms to the mat. You could cross the forearms in front of you or bring your arms back by your legs, whatever feels restful. Take a moment to bring yourself back to this moment. Come back to that balanced breath if the breath has gotten away from you. Oftentimes, we can create separation with others because we may not understand their belief. We may misunderstand it. And I find in those situations, if you are not sure, ask questions. We had an instance in a yoga room that I taught, and there was a Buddha statue, and a student was offended by that. She said, whenever I come in here, I feel like it's church. And that was confusing to me because, well, my church doesn't have a Buddha statue. Anyway, the Buddha was gone. And I just wish instead she would have asked me about it and I could have explained why it was there. You know, misunderstanding. And that happens. But let's open dialogue. Let's talk to each other and learn about each other. Let's come up to all fours, hands and knees. Step your right foot forward between your hands. The top of the left foot is flat on the mat. Here, you're going to reach the arms to the sky as the hips lower towards the ground. Now you can play around with this here. If you'd like a deeper back bend, you can reach up and take it back. As you exhale, lower the hands, one on either side of that right foot. Step your right knee back to meet the left. Take a breath in as you exhale, shift your hips to the heels, chest to the thighs. Inhale, bring yourself back up. Step the left foot forward between your hands. Top of that right foot flat on the mat. Inhale, arms sweep up, hips lower towards the mat. Keep the navel drawn in, and it's your choice how deep to go. Lower the hands, one on either side of the left foot. Step that left knee back to meet the right. We're going to come up to standing. However you get there is fine. So you'll come to stand on the mat in Tadasana mountain pose. So we stand with our feet parallel to each other. They are just femur width apart. Hips stacked on knees, knees stacked on ankles, pelvis in neutral. The crown of the head reaches towards the sky. Shoulder blades come together and down the back. So this is Tadasana mountain pose. We're going to practice a standing back bend. And I'll stand to the side so you can see. Press down through your feet. We always want to root through our foundation. As you inhale, arms reach up, crown of the head reaches towards the sky. So sometimes when you think of a back bend, you may think of going like this, jutting those hips forward, but that's not really what we want to do. We want to root down through the feet and lift up through the chest, and then take it back. So we're not jutting our hips forward. As you inhale, bring yourself back up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, folding forward. Relax the head and neck here. If you can't quite reach the ground, you can put blocks under the hands or bend your knees. Bring your hands to your hips, press down through the feet, and come back up to Tadasana, mountain pose. Standing at the top of the mat, take a nice big step back with your right foot. The right toes point out slightly to the right. If you look down at your feet, for the most part, your left heel should intersect with the right arch. Torso, frontal hip bones face the top of the mat. As you inhale, arms sweep up. As you exhale, you'll bend the left knee, coming to Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. In this pose, make sure you're rooting down through the outer edge of the back foot. The left knee doesn't go out past the ankle. The breath is balanced, the gaze is soft. Take your right hand to the back of your right thigh. Reach the left fingertips towards the sky. Lift up through the chest, and as you exhale, you're going to take it back for a subtle back bend, reverse warrior. Slowly bring yourself back up. Lower the left arm. Step that right foot forward, coming back to Tadasana, mountain pose. Come back to the balanced breath if it's gotten away from you. And next, we'll take a nice big step back with the left foot. So I have to tell you a secret. I had a class plan all written up, and I couldn't find it. It's gone. I just saw it in the middle of my yard. I think the wind blew it away, but I remember most of it. So gaze is forward. And I know I didn't have to tell you that. You would never have known, but you know. As you inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, bend that right knee. Focus on your breath here. Place the left hand on the back of that left thigh. Reach the right fingertips to the sky. Lead with the chest. Lift up and then take it back. Slowly bring yourself back up. You can lower the right arm and step the left foot forward. As you inhale, the arms sweep up. Exhale, fold forward, hinging from those hips. Fingertips come down to the ground. You can relax the head and neck here. Gently turn the head from side to side. We're going to come down to all, actually, we're going to come down to kneeling. So not quite all fours, but we're going to kneel. When we're kneeling, make sure the knees are right below the hips, and then the ankles come right out from those knees. As you inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, fingertips come down to the ground. As you inhale, use the core, unhinge, coming back up. You're moving with your breath here. Exhale, hinge. Inhale, coming back up. The next time you bring yourself up, arms come up overhead. Let the palms come together to touch. And as you exhale, bring your hands to your heart. We're going to practice Ustrasana, camel pose. And we're going to practice it in three different ways. So you can choose whichever way is best for you. And the back bend will progressively get deeper. So the first option, which I call baby camel, we take our hands to the sacrum, that triangular bone at the base of the spine. And I want you to think about that standing back bend we did. We're going to lift up through the chest. This is a pose. If you look in yoga magazines and things, you'll see this pose a lot, and you'll see it done incorrectly. Most of the time when you see this pose, you're going to see it like this. Those hips jutting out. We want to keep the hips right on top of the knees. So, hands come to the sacrum. Navel draws in. You're going to press down through the knees, lift up through the chest, and then you're just taking it back gently. So the hips stay above the knees. Slowly bring yourself back up as you exhale, hinge forward. Come back to kneeling. The other way that you'll see this pose in magazines and books is like this, where the hips are way back. Again, we want the hips right on top of the knees. The second version of the pose, we're going to use blocks. So if you have blocks, you can try this. If not, you can try the first version again. So we place the blocks right next to our feet. Press down through the foundation. Create length in the spine. Inhale, arms reach up. You're lifting up through that sternum, bringing the hands to the blocks for your back bend. Now, I haven't done this in a while. It's a little much for me today. So I'm going to stick with the first version. But if you can get those hands on the blocks and do the pose, you can try that. And it actually feels like for me today, it's almost as if my chest is too tight to get my arms back. Slowly bring yourself back up, hinge forward. So that's never happened to me before. I've never not been able to reach back. Every practice is different. Every moment is different. And be with your body as it is in that moment. So just because you could do something yesterday, don't force yourself to do it today if it's not the best thing for you. Come back up to kneeling. So this is full camel pose, which I'm not going to be able to do today because I'm a little tight, and that's okay, but I can show you. So you'll press down through the knees, inhale, grow tall. This time you take the hands to the heels, so you would have your hands on the heels, lifting up through that sternum. And I apologize that I can't show it to you today. That's a really deep back bend, a big chest opener. Slowly bring yourself back up. Exhale, hinge forward. So we find ourselves in extended child's pose. Take a breath in. As you exhale, start to walk your hands out to the left as you bow out your right ribs. Start to walk the hands back to center. And as you exhale, walk the hands out to the right as you bow out the left ribs. So when I teach in person, I often teach poses that I personally don't do because I was taught to teach using my words. Haven't done that yet when I've been teaching live on camera, so it's a little different because I can't see you and cue you. So I hope that that camel pose was okay for you. Let's come to lay down on our bellies. As I mentioned before, back bends are thought of as heating, energizing, but when they're done on the belly, they're more grounding. So we're going to start with Sphinx pose, and then we will do other back bends that get progressively deeper. So for Sphinx pose, we'll start with the legs. If your feet cramp in the pose, you'll just relax the legs. So we're going to actively point the toes towards the space behind us. So we're kind of reaching those feet. Then we will create an inner rotation of the thighs. So we're turning the thighs in towards each other. That's going to cause your sit bones to come apart. Draw the tailbone towards the heels. So we're reaching the feet, inner rotation of the thighs, tailbone towards the heels. So we're going to keep all of that. Then come up onto the forearms. Place the elbows directly under the shoulders. Press the forearms and the hands into the mat. So we're reaching the toes, inner rotation of the thighs, tailbone towards the heels. The gaze is forward for Sphinx pose. Breathe here. On your next exhale, you'll just relax those legs. Slowly lower down, crossing the forearms in front of you, resting your forehead. Bend the knees and just rotate the ankles. Reverse the direction of that ankle rotation. So the fact that I wasn't able to get into my camel pose today could be for a couple reasons. It could be that I've been doing other activities that caused my chest to be tighter. Could be that I didn't warm up enough. But it's not something that I'm going to be worried about. I'm not going to stress about it. I'm not going to analyze it. It just is what it is. Let those ankles become still and lower the legs down to the ground. The next pose that we're going to do is Shalabhasana, locust pose. And we'll start with Ardha Shalabhasana, which is half Shalabhasana. Ardha means half. So we'll bring our arms by our sides, palms face the sky. The forehead should be to the mat, but if you don't like that, you can turn your head to the side. You just have to make sure to alternate each time we lift and lower. On your inhale, the head, chest, and arms simultaneously lift up off of the mat. And then as you exhale, they lower. Inhale, head, chest, arms lift. Exhale, lower. So here you'll continue moving with your breath. When you lift, resist the urge to look forward. We want to keep the back of the neck nice and long. Also, When you lift, you're reaching the fingertips towards the space behind you. Lift and lower 2 more times. When you're finished, you can cross the forearms in front of you, rest the forehead, or if you feel like the low back's talking to you a little bit, you could take child's pose to stretch that out. You could feel free to bend the knees, let the legs sway from side to side. Let the legs become still, lower them to the mat. So now we'll practice full Shalabhasana. So the arms come by your sides, palms face the sky. This time we'll add our legs. So as you inhale, the head, chest, arms, and legs simultaneously lift up off of the mat. And then as you exhale, you'll lower. Inhale, head, chest, arms, legs, lift. Exhale, lower. Continue on your own here. So we resist the urge to look forward. The crown of the head reaches to the space in front of you. As you lift, the fingertips and the toes reach to the space behind you. See if you can lift and lower 2 more times. When you're finished, again, you can lower down, cross those forearms in front of you. Feel free to take child's pose if you think you need to stretch out that low back. So next, we're going to practice Bhujangasana, cobra pose. This one, I typically teach 2 ways, baby cobra or cobra. So to start, you're going to bring your hands right next to your chest. Often in class, when I say that, people put their hands forward, but you want them right next to the chest and then hug the elbows in. Cobra pose is not a push-up. What you're going to do is press the hands into the mat, and then you're pressing the hands towards the feet without allowing the hands to slide down the mat. So just notice when you do that, your body shifts forward. Okay? So you're pressing the hands into the floor, pressing the hands towards the feet. The body shifts forward as you rise. So baby cobra has bent elbows. Cobra has straight arms, much deeper, so choose what's best for you. Let's try it again. As you inhale, isometrically drag those hands back. The chest sweeps through the arms as you rise. Lower the shoulders away from the ears. As you exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, nice long neck. Exhale, lower. 2 more on your own. When you finish, you can come to child's pose. Roll over onto your back and hug the knees into the chest. Once you hug those knees in, you can rock from side to side. Lower the soles of the feet to the mat. Bring your arms by your sides, the palms face the floor. Pelvic floor draws up, navel draws in. Engage both glutes, lift those hips. As you exhale, lower the hips. Inhale, hips lift. Exhale, hips lower. The next time you lift the hips, we're going to hold the hips up. So don't hold the breath, just hold the pose. You should be able to maintain that balanced breath. On the next exhale, you can slowly lower the hips down to the mat and draw the knees into the chest. Place the right hand on the right knee, left hand on the left knee. As you inhale, the knees pull away from the chest, your arms straighten. And as you exhale, knees pull in. Inhale, knees pull away. Exhale, knees draw in. The next time you draw the knees in, you'll pause there. Bring the arms out like a T, palms face the sky. Take a breath in. As you exhale, you're going to twist to the left. So you're tipping those legs over to the left. Left leg comes down to the mat. The right leg can rest on top of it. If you'd like, you can turn the head to look towards the right. Slowly draw the knees back up, head and neck come back to neutral. On the next exhale, you'll twist to the right. So those legs tip over to the right. And if it's okay for the head, you can turn the head to look towards the left. Slowly draw the knees back up, head and neck come back to neutral. Press the soles of the feet up towards the sky and rotate those ankles. Reverse the direction of the ankle rotation. Let the ankles become still. Bend the knees and lower the feet to the mat. So we're going to do one more back bend. And for this one, you'll need two blocks or at least one block. If you don't have a block, if you have like a small throw pillow or something like that, it could work. If you don't have anything, don't worry about it. You can either try without the blocks or do dynamic bridge pose. So this is called supported fish pose. Some people find the blocks to be very uncomfortable in this pose. If that's the case for you, just come out of it, okay? So the first block is going to go on your mat vertically. The second block will go above that horizontally. So this vertical block basically will end up right beneath the shoulder blades. So you'll go ahead and lay down so that that block, the shoulder blades are kind of hanging over the top of the block. It may take you a few moments to find the proper spot. The second block is your pillow. So just place your head on that block. So this brings you into a supported back bend. Now, if it's okay for your neck, you're going to remove your pillow block and place the top of the head on the mat. But if your neck needs the support, you can put the block back. You can stay just like this, or bend the knees, or let the soles of the feet come together as the knees open up out to the sides. If you experience any pain in this position, I'd like you to adjust or come out of it. So we'll begin to come out of our supported fish pose. Just gently remove the blocks, and then you'll come to lay down on your back and hug those knees into the chest. You can rock side to side here. And we're going to begin to transition into Shavasana, which is the last pose of our class. You can grab anything that you need to be comfortable for this time. Traditionally, Shavasana is done laying on your back, but if that's uncomfortable for you, you can adjust the pose, you can modify. Let the feet just flop open. Relax the jaw by creating a space between the top and bottom rows of teeth. And let the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. The palms face the sky, and the arms are a few inches away from the body. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let go of any tension that you're holding on to. Let the natural breath take over. Rest in Shavasana.